What's going on, everybody? We are going after a new trolling motor today. The one on my kayak has been many rough miles, so figure it's time to change it out before it goes out. Rain's supposed to clear out. It's supposed to be actually a decent afternoon. Hopefully it cooperates. It's gonna be cool. Y'all come on. Here we go. We got the new trolling motor that we're going to install. Got the old trolling motor unwired. We're fixing to pull the head the rest of the way off of this one. What I do is I extend all of my wires. This is obviously the power, the negative. This is the speed controls. What I do is I wire it from here to the head that I have fastened next to my seat, and also I have the negative interrupted running into a foot pedal momentary switch. What this allows you to do is, once you're on a good line that you want to fish, you can bump yourself forward with the pedal and keep on your line, so you can basically use a trolling motor like you would on a bass boat. It's hands-free. The steering cable, I'll get into the steering cable here in a minute, but right now we're going to pull the head off of the new trolling motor and give you an idea of what it looks like inside there. The best thing to do is, if you're doing this for the first time, obviously all of my stuff is pre-wired, so all I have to do is pull the head off of the shaft and tie my wires into my existing wiring harness that was wired in with my old trolling motor. So all the wires stay in place. It's just an extension of what is here. But to install the head, you'll want to remember where these go, so take a picture of it. That's the best advice. And you can go back and look at your picture and see which wire actually goes where when you go back to reinstall. Okay, once you get all of your wires disconnected, remove your handle. This is your handle, forward, reverse. There's your solenoid. You just want to free your wires. There we go. Yeah, just free your wires. Remove the head. And there you go. You have all of your wires free, ready to go into the back onto the mount. I use the same mount also. I've disconnected the locking mechanism, and basically all you have to do is reach in there and grab that spring and just yank it out. It's nothing real fancy, nothing real pretty. Just grab it and rip it out. This lets this move freely, so if you're trolling along and you hit something, it'll flop up rather than, you know, put so much stress on your transom. You can still use reverse. If you go high reverse while you're moving forward, your motor will come up out of the water, so you want to watch that. But for the most part, reverse works fine, and it's just easier to use the same mount. Also, this locking collar here that comes on your motor what I've done is remove the factory bolt and drilled it out and replaced it with a piece of 3/8 all thread, and that's your steering bar. I'll show you once it's hooked up, but a nut on both sides and then 2 nuts on the ends to hold your steering cable, which I use a 550 cord for my steering cable. I'll go over that again once I get it all rigged up. But again, that's just the collar that goes onto your that goes onto the trolling motor, with the factory bolt replaced with 3/8 all thread, 12 inches long. So pretty simple setup. I'll show you how it works. Another thing you're going to want to do is cut the shaft down. It's not 100% necessary. It just looks a lot cleaner not having a shaft sticking up 2 feet above your transom. What I like to do is cut about 8 inches off of a 40-pound thrust Minn Kota. Ultimately, you want about a 30-inch shaft, and that'll give you plenty of depth and allow you to pull your motor in with your steering cables, which I'll show you here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and get that shaft cut down. Right, we got that done. Again, just work your way around like I did. Take your time. Be sure you don't cut into your wires, and then there you have, you have what's left of your shaft. And again, not necessary. It's just that much less that's going to be sticking up way up here above your transom. It just looks better. All right, let's get it on. Now we're going to put this new motor into this existing mount. Just feed your wires through first. And then follow it with the trolling motor. Alrighty, and there you go. She's on. Now we'll just get it wired up, taped up, and I'll show you how to put that steering assembly on. The trolling motor, while you're traveling, while you're using your trolling motor, will be pointed this way. So your collar, you want the steering rod on the back. That'll give you a larger range of steering. If it's on the front, it's a little bit limited. So you want to be sure and install it with the steering rod at the back, at the propeller side of the trolling motor. Same thing as putting it on the existing mount. Just get your wires in and slide it down. You'll adjust. This will be your depth stop also. Play with this and adjust it until you until you're happy with it. All right, let's go ahead and get her tightened down. All right, I ran my wiring through a bit of flexible conduit. This is an industrial weatherproof flex hose, and I ran it up the shaft so I could have my wires exposed. I just got finished wiring them in. Now I'm going to finish taping them. They are going to be enclosed. It's going to be watertight for the most part. You want to tape them. You want to tape them pretty well. You're going to get some moisture, unless you completely encased it. I don't have a problem with moisture. I fish in the rain. My kayak fills up with water, and I don't have an issue, so it'll be fine. But we are wired in, so we'll just slip this down down the line, make it look all pretty. Then we'll get the steering hooked in, and I'll show you that. All right. Okay, on the steering cables, what you want to do is I just tied just a simple noose knot, put it over the end. I have a lock nut here as a stopper. Cinch that down, and then you'll put another nut on this as the you know, to keep everything in place. You'll tighten that up. But these Nucanoes actually have eyelets to strap things down, and for an anchor trolley. They work perfect for guide eyes for this steering cable. And run it through, and there you go. And then what I use, this is a scupper plug, so they work great for a handle. But run this through, tie a knot on the end of it, and you have your steering handle. Pull it, the motor turns. So super simple, and it works amazing. Another cool thing is if you leave them long enough, you can cross them in front of you, or put them under your leg and keep your motor perfectly still. Or like I said, once you have a good line that you're wanting to fish, you can keep the motor turned at a certain angle, lock these in place by putting them under your leg or crossing them in front of you, and then just bumping the motor with the foot switch. You keep yourself in that same line, you know, depending on which way the wind's trying to push the boat. It's amazing, kayak fishing hands-free and having control of where you're going. It's amazing. It completely changes the way you're able to fish out of a kayak. And I did the same thing on the other side. So pull this way to turn this way, other handle turn that way, and you're set up. You're steering from your seat. Pretty simple. That's what we got going on. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.